Hi, welcome back to the JC League-House. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the work going in the yard. But to demonstrate why we're doing what we're about to do, I brought my sister to show you that here we are, roughly the same height in the yard next to the fence. But wait, let me show you what happens when I go over the wall. Okay. Holy moly.
That is, break your ankles. I don't have to drive home.
That is a long way down. All right. Here I am. That was a little bit longer down than I thought it was going to be. Now that I'm on the outside of the wall, you can see the big difference in how high she is versus where I am. I'm standing on the level of ground that the island was raised to at this point. All the dirt that was added in the yard was done for other reasons over time that I really don't understand. Maybe bringing in topsoil, maybe thinking if this lot was raised higher it would help with flooding. I don't know, but it's causing some big problems, and that's what we're going to deal with in the yard today. Okay, so I wanted to show you one of the big problems with having too much dirt here. The dirt is so high that it's pushing laterally onto the fence, and the weight of that soil is actually pushing the fence over. Look how it's broken the bond here in the brick, and this whole fence is listing. You can see it's leaning all the way down. So the first order of business was to get some of this dirt away from the fence and try to alleviate that pressure to keep it from failing any further. The other thing that happened is they let trees grow up near the fence and pushed the fence over even more. So when we were doing all that clearing, one thing we did was clear everything away from the fence line.
My contractor Robert brought this little guy and let me borrow it for a couple of days. I was a little slow to start, but once I got the hang of it, especially when I put the phone down and used two hands, it was easy. I'm certainly not as zippy as the professional that came with the big bobcat to do the big excavation, but I got the job done. It was hard to maneuver close to the fence because of all the trees, but for the most part it worked great. There were some pretty big stumps right up next to the fence, and I worked and worked and worked to nibble away at them as best I could.
This is the area that we've already done. I used Robert's little truck shovel to dig out away from the fence itself, trying to expose the foundation to look and see how it was built. You can see it's got a brick foundation or footing that comes out, and then the wall extends up from there. This was an area where there was actually a very large palm tree that was growing and leaning over on the fence. This is the remnants of all that root system that was here. There were some other bigger trees, and we haven't been able to get the stumps out yet, so all of that will have to be cleared. Eventually, if we can straighten the fence, we will. If not, this one doesn't lean that much, so it may be that we just alleviate the pressure on the fence and then backfill this with some dirt and slope it up to the level of the yard, because the yard is still significantly higher than you can see where I'm standing, where it would have been when this fence was built.
This is one of those things I don't need to be spending money on right now, but I've applied for a grant from the city of Galveston where they share the cost of sidewalk replacement. And if this sidewalk gets replaced, I don't want to have to break it back out to work on the fence. So it's kind of a now or never situation. I haven't made a final decision, so for now I'm just leaving the trench open while I decide what to do. With this little cutie on site, we tackled another issue. The big bobcat dug that retention pond, and we had already graded the ground in the U-shaped area that was collecting water to slope to a collection point where a drain box would be installed in the future. The plan was for a pipe to run from that drain box to the retention pond underground. Robert used the backhoe to dig the channel for the drain line. See all that water? It had rained, but we also accidentally broke the water line to the only working faucet on the property when we were digging the trench. The cutoff valve at the water meter wouldn't budge, so the city had to come out and shut off the water. It added a lot more water to the mess. I'll show you the fallout from that mistake in a later video. On a positive note, the drainage plan worked perfectly. It took quite a while for all the water to drain, and as the retention pond filled up, we noticed a strong smell of oil and a thick sheen on top of the water. J.C. League was a car collector, and there are these two mysterious holes under the garage foundation. I'm thinking that he drained motor oil into those wells, and that oil is leaching out of the sand and into the retention pond.
Here's my retention pond that we dug, and we've added a temporary drain from that U-shaped area that you saw before that held so much water. It works well. A lot of times when it rains, this will be full almost to the top. The next step will be to take out this trash tree and grade this so that it slopes towards the street, which is the low spot, so that water can overflow like a spillway and drain out to the street. The lot is already draining better. You can kind of see we have started the line of the drainage trench here, and it is wetter than the surrounding area because water now runs off the lot, comes this way, and heads to the street.
All that digging with heavy equipment took its toll on the lot. I was still recovering from my broken ribs and I couldn't lift anything heavy, but I could use the rake, so Jesus and I spent a day raking and preparing the ground for grass. The grass is here. We're going to drive the truck around to the back and get it closer to where it needs to be laid. I say we, I mean them. I can't help. I still can't use my left arm. I was very frustrated not being able to put the sod down myself. It would have taken me a lot longer, but I consider my labor free, and these guys could have been doing other things. But it needed to get done, and I made a tiny contribution by manning the water hose. I think the guys enjoyed being out of that horrible basement for a while. It was a beautiful day. Then, all of a sudden, dozens and dozens of these black swallowtail butterflies showed up. They were drawn to the dirt areas that I had wetted down ahead of the grass getting laid. It was so strange that I had to go look it up. And sure enough, it's an activity called mud puddling. The butterflies go to the wet soil to drink up as much water as they can to get the dissolved minerals, particularly sodium, from the soil. And it's almost always male butterflies that do this. It's thought that they need the sodium to be fertile. It's most common with the Papilionidae family of butterflies, of which the swallowtail is a member. I've learned a lot of strange stuff working on this house, and now I know strange butterfly trivia. But the grass down the yard looks great in this area. Here's just a little reminder from the It's a Jungle Out There video of where this yard started, so you can see how far it's come. There's still about 3/4 of the yard to go on the drainage plan, but the worst issue is solved, and the rest will happen slowly over time as budget allows. And yes, for once, I actually have a sketch of my plan on paper, not just thoughts rattling around in my head. The next area to tackle will probably be on the east side of the house, just because a lot of digging has already gone on for the new sewer line, and there's some termite issues there. The sewer line saga will have to be its own video. That's a mess. So if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do it now so you can get notifications when new videos are posted, and don't forget to hit the like button to help other Old House fans find us on YouTube.
Why did you climb it over the wall? You don't get to edit that part out.
It's a long way down.
It's a big drop on the other side.
I could cheat and go get a step ladder. Okay,
Well, yeah, you can also pause the camera and then...
No, I'm getting. I'd have to walk all the way over there.
Okay.
Here, get on this side because I'm gonna hop over the wall.
Then I'll be in a little part. Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. You're standing next to me.
Okay.
I'm crooked and fat and have no makeup on.
Okay. All right. Today I brought my sister. Oh, I don't have to yell because my mic's
It's Jesus!
Shut up. Okay. Posture. Okay. Okay. Hi, welcome back to the League House. Today we're going to talk about. I didn't know what you were doing. Okay, now.
I'm going to mime. You say.
The
whole time you're talking, I'm going to be going.
Okay. Hi, welcome back to the. Not gonna have battery left. You're not helping over there, Missy.
I'm so cool.
Okay, I'll shut you up. Okay. Hi, welcome back to the JC League House.
Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back here at the JC League House in Galveston as I attempt to return this amazing house to its former glory.